In this video, I will show you the meaning of angel number 3434, the reason it's an inner number, its hidden geometric pattern as it relates to the sacred geometries, and how to employ angel number 3434 to directly answer its spiritual purpose in your life. Welcome to Spiritual Vectors. Part 1. What is the meaning of angel number 3434? The meaning of any angel number has more to do with four major factors than anything else. Those factors are the outer, the inner, the higher, and the lower. The outer refers to the outer properties of the number on a physical level. This includes the geometry of the number, or its place in a series of numbers, or the design or construction of the number itself. Whereas the inner refers to your relationship with the number, or more specifically, your synesthesia towards that number. And that can vary greatly from one person to another. For instance, a good number for me may be a bad number for you. This is why those horoscope-like readings of angel numbers on the internets these days cannot be the one-size-fits-all that you've been getting. The fact is, your relationship with a number or sequence may be totally different than someone else's. That's a brief description of the outer and the inner. The higher and the lower refer to the nature of the number in the hierarchy of numeric properties. Because angel number 3434 is predominantly an inner number, a discussion of its hierarchy would be outside the scope of this video. So, what does angel number 3434 mean to you? Because it's an inner number, it depends greatly on your particular synesthesia with this number. The reason 3434 is an inner number. Here's the proof. Here is what angel number 3434 is not. It is not a palindrome. It is not a prime number. It is not a Mersenne prime number. It is not a Fermat number, a perfect number, a Fibonacci number, a triangular number. It is not a square number, a cube number, a factorial number, a pentagonal number, a centered square number. It is not a heptagonal number, a triangular number. It is not a tetrahedral number, and so on. I think you get the idea. There is no obvious outward geometry that describes this number. So, where does angel number 3434 fit into the scheme of things? It belongs to the set of pentagonal numbers multiplied by 2. This set of numbers can be found at the online Encyclopedia of Integer Sequences here. And it's part of a pattern that looks like this. The hexagonal spiral around the 0 starting point also shows the triangular pattern downward with 0 at the top. The right side leg of the triangle, shown with the dots, with series 0, 2, 10, 24, 44, 70, etc., is the leg that includes number 3434 as an expression of the A049450 pentagonal numbers multiplied by 2 sequence. Somewhat obscure, huh? But the geometry, though concealed, actually does exist. It's just not terribly obvious unless you go deep to look for it. And that's somewhat of a clue. You have to go deep, inside, to find it. Are you ready to do that? Your feelings towards the number is typically the reason you are seeing this or any other angel number in the first place. Your subconscious has filtered this particular number for conscious consideration out of a sea of other numbers. You see, other numbers are just as abundant in the world, but your subconscious has ignored all the other numbers in favor of showing you this one. Why that is what establishes your relationship with this number as opposed to someone else's. So, to test the veracity of your relationship with angel number 3434, do this quick exercise. Go to the random sequence generator, as shown below. There should be a link to random sequence generator below this video. When you get there, set parameters to minimum equals 1000 and maximum equals 9999. Format to 20 columns. You will need to do this on a much larger screen than your telephone, by the way. This will generate a randomized set of 4-digit numbers between 1000 and 9999 in a 20-column table. Since they are randomized, your knowledge of where 3434 lurks cannot be known in advance. Now, just take a look at the entire tabled set of numbers. If your connection with this number is strong, the number will stand out on its own. It will find you. If you are struggling to find the number in this sea of other 4-digit numbers, your affinity with it may not be that strong. If you do find it, examine what it feels like, or its color, that makes it stand out against the other numbers. If the number has a feeling, or if the number has a color, or if it affects any of your other senses, that is your synesthesia as it relates to this number. And that is the inner vector the number is communicating to you. Part 5. There are many ways to utilize an angel number. One of the easiest is to follow its vector. Now, before we go further, here's a very important rule of thumb. If your relationship with an angel number is positive, it's okay to take it to the inner. If your relationship with the number is negative, for instance, if it evokes fear, the number is serving your interests as a warning to not follow that vector. Therefore, do not take it into the inner. Got it? Only take positive things inside. One of the easiest ways to utilize an angel number on the inner, if it's a positive number for you, is to follow its vector. If you've never done this before, get ready for an interesting spiritual initiation. It can turn all kinds of your inner senses on. Here's the technique. Just before you go to sleep, or after you've already been to sleep, woke up and are about to go back, command yourself to find 3434. That's right. You're going on a hunt. Just command yourself to find that number. That's all you have to do. Then go back to sleep. Don't worry when it doesn't happen right away. It rarely does. But what happens when you do find it is that you will realize that in that moment you are fully conscious in a dream. Most people at that point get startled and wake up. What to do next is the subject of another matter entirely. And it is why I insist that before you join Spiritual Vectors, you read the Read Me First page from the menu at spiritualvectors.com. It establishes a bit of spiritual responsibility before diving into the inner worlds. But not to leave you stranded, following the vector, in this case, means to follow where the number takes you on the inner. And thus, to follow this angel number back to where it came from answers the question of its most intimate meaning for you directly. And just a note, you can meet all kinds of things on the inner. And so a good, clean spiritual ecology is the first line of order as a spiritual pioneer. Would you like to become one? That is the question.